Sonia ma'am.
Good morning, ma'am.
Good morning, ma'am.
Good morning.
Good morning.
All
Good
right,
morning.
you guys ready to present?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, excellent.
A very good morning, one and all. I'm Lavanya Dadwar from class 5th B.
And I am Akshita Bhambe from class 5th A.
And today we will be presenting our PBL project, How Kids Play Around the World. For the first tab, we selectively picked 12 countries each, all over the world, keeping in mind to cover the entire world map. We searched different indigenous and modern games played in these countries through online research and collected a wealth of information from many different sites like theirworld.com, multiculturekids.com, whitebaykids.com, Wikipedia, study.com, to name a few. We learned world geography, culture awareness, new games, and also explored and compared a variety of games that children just like us are playing around the globe.
For tab 2, we explored our beautiful and incredible country, India. We invested a lot of time in doing extensive research and went through the educational websites, social media channels, ebooks, and finally selected 7 games each, which were a mix of modern and traditional games like Vishamrit, Kabaddi, Kanche, Ludo, chess, kho-kho, pittu, gulail, pachisi, etc.
For tab 3, we selected one country. My country of choice was Australia. I discovered a treasure of information on Australia's climate, religion, flora, and fauna. I found that Australia is the only continent in the world without an active volcano and has 3 times more sheep than people. Online research on the games kids play in Australia was done, and I found the Australian Museum and Australian Sports Commission sites particularly interesting. I found similarity in the games played in Australia and all over the world. Also, I realized that our native games teach us valuable survival skills. Although few like knucklebones and crossbone games are quite scary too.
I selected Japan for my analysis. Sports is a significant part of Japanese culture and is intertwined with it. It was fascinating to understand about Japan's unique ancient traditions. Most of the Japanese sports are aimed to perfect one's character. It was interesting to learn that many Japanese games are similar to the games played in our country only, like Onigoko, which is Japanese hide and seek. Hanetsuki is Japanese badminton. Kidoro is Japanese tag. I particularly like the national game of Japan, sumo, which is a must-see culture sports experience.
For our next step, we worked together and selected the country Jamaica, the heartbeat of the world. Here, with the help of Make My Trip, TripAdvisor, and Visit Jamaica sites, we researched how to reach Jamaica, as there are very limited flights to this Caribbean island nation, and also gathered a lot of information on the country facts, reggae music, tourist places like Luminous Lagoon, caves, beaches, river falls, cuisines, and games Jamaican kids play for our creative writing. Keeping in mind the storyline, we search many pictures to make it look more appealing. While doing the creative writing, we realize how Jamaican kids rely on their imagination and creativity for playtime.
For our last tab reflection, both Lavanya and I researched the benefits of playing games and how it will impact the overall growth in kids. We had to go through a lot of online search data, journals, and scientific research articles, which suggested how playing different games help us to build self-confidence, develop gross motor skills, helps in expressing our emotions, rationalizing, along with other valuable health benefits like happy hormones, physical fitness, and foster relationships. Also researched on what happens if kids are not allowed to play. This may result in mental deprivation, leading to aggressive behavior, depression, antisocial skill, and risk to become obese.
Conclusion. Through our PBL project, we learn 21st century 4C skills, creativity for making our workspace organized and attractive, critical thinking and imagination. For our creative writing, we thought of different ways in which we can present it beautifully. Collaboration. We had amazing time coordinating and working efficiently. And communication. Every week thrice, we have brainstorming sessions among us and with our mentor teacher, Lavanya Madhavan ma'am, where we cleared all our doubts. While facing technical glitches, we developed problem-solving skills and understood our social responsibility to preserve native games as cultural treasures. Project PAL's platform provided us an opportunity to practice collaborative learning, teamwork, sportsmanship, and perseverance.
This project enabled us in getting closer to the digital world as we did vigorous web-based research about each topic, collected and collated data which was available in digital format. We inched towards building our digital literacy for future studies. While working on this project, we improved our proficiency in other subjects also, like oral and written communication, art and maths integration, global and cultural awareness, and advanced virtual studies. It was an amazing journey with lifelong experience, which helped us gain tremendous knowledge about other countries and well supported by our mentor teacher. Thank you everyone for taking out your precious time to be with us.
You guys are amazing. It's incredible the work that you guys did, really is. And just want to ask you a few questions. So first of all, let me remind you that you actually guys reached out to me directly, even though it wasn't very clear how to reach out to me. So I don't know, you probably got to the website and found the place to actually send me a message. Is that correct? Yes. See, that is very, very, you know, you guys have an initiative, you know, to look for unusual locations, which is amazing. That's very nice. That just proves the point that you guys learn how to problem solve and how to, you know, how to get to the solutions. And that's great. The projects are incredible and your presentation is even more incredible. And you should be amazingly proud of yourself. And I'm very, very proud of you.
Thank you, ma'am.
So, yeah,
Thank you.
you're welcome.
Thank you. Great
Thank you.
presentation.
Yeah, very nice.
Thank you,
Uh,
ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you, Lavanya ma'am. You can exit
Thank you, ma'am.
and
Thank
your
you.
students can exit as well. Thank you.
Okay, bye.
Ma'am, thank
Bye.
you, ma'am. Have a good day.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Hi. Hi, Ananya. Hi, Akriti. Hi. Okay, so Ananya is my student from grade 12. So
Okay.
she's going to be presenting her project, and that's Akriti, also from grade 12. Akriti, where's Rudha? Get in touch with her. Can't hear you, love.
You cannot hear.
Can't hear you. Okay. Okay, so she'll, Ananya, you can start presenting your project. You're on mute.
Sorry. Is it visible? Like
Yeah,
this?
it's visible.
Okay.
Okay, so you can start presenting. Yeah,
I'm sorry.
What
I've
happened?
never used Zoom before.
that's okay. Just go
It's
to
not
your
letting me-
go to your tab you're presenting.
Yeah.
Go to
okay.
project bar.
Here we go. Okay, so
good.
my project was on COVID, which is quite a relevant topic. It's a situation we're living in right now. I found it really interesting to know because I had a huge range of resources I could look from. I could look at updates from news articles. I could look at personal experiences that people had written on their blogs, and I could also look at government websites and see what kind of policies had been enforced. So my final project is actually a bit shorter than the original template because we had a limited time frame, but I still incorporated as much as I could, and I definitely didn't find it any less interesting. So to begin off, I've given when COVID was officially declared to be a pandemic, which is 20th March 2020. And then with such a major pandemic come a lot of major life changes. And I have mentioned those here. So it includes our life outside, our life at home, and our life at school. Life outside means that we don't really go traveling anymore, and we don't really eat out or spend time in public because of the risks involved. Life at home, we just spend a lot more time at home than normal. And life at school is easy virtual school. It's the only thing we know nowadays. It's like a entire lives. Then we also had COVID's impact on the community. So the different changes that happened in the neighborhoods we live in, as well as in our usage of commute and public transport, and also the different changes we had in shopping, which is a primarily public activity, but now it's shifted completely to online shopping and delivery and not going out. Then and these changes came into place because COVID is highly contagious. It's very easily transmitted from person to person or from an infected surface to a person. And it's because of this that medical professionals and experts have given several preventative guidelines which you can follow in order to prevent getting COVID. These include social distancing. So you stay 6 feet away from the people around you. Usage of masks, extremely important because it's a barrier. It's a barrier in the path of the virus. The third is personal hygiene, where you regularly sanitize items, you practice individual hygiene, and you also wash your hands as often as possible, which has been emphasized as being important. The fourth is the most recent one. It's ever since the vaccine for coronavirus was approved, governments of different countries have started vaccine drives and campaigns to get their citizens vaccinated. Then my next tab is on school. So how everything changed for school and how it probably will be after post the coronavirus era. Yes. Okay. So for this, I first looked at the major problems which I thought were common to schools all over the entire world, and as well as what they'd done to combat this problem. So the four major problems I could find were how education can be continued safely, which is done through online school, how education can be altered to fit the new situation, and this was done by altering the curriculum and also including online material. The third problem is how students and teachers can be helped and trained to adjust the new system, which was done through webinars and workshops, and also by educating students on the importance of issues such as cybersecurity and privacy. The fourth problem is the most recent one and only started receiving attention once online school became the new normal, and that is what happens to students who don't have limited access to virtual resources. So for this is where schools got creative, and they did everything from using online apps to pre-recording lessons and then sharing them by email or WhatsApp. And then there were even instances where schools are broadcasting their lessons on loudspeaker. This teacher based in Jharkhand did that for his students. He would pre-record lessons and broadcast them over large areas of loudspeaker so that they could continue education safely. And it was also for free. So it was a really nice way of going about it. Then come the changes that are necessary to keep students safe and healthy. So what kind of changes are followed in the buildings, such as keeping grades and classes separate, and what kind of changes are in the classroom. So social distancing measures and also personal protective gear, face masks and face shields, anything that can prevent the transmit. Then my last section here is on the reimagined post-corona school. So it's talking about how 1.6 billion students are going to be affected, which is a massive fraction of the world's population. And it's emphasizing the importance of vaccination, personal protective gear, and also social distancing measures, so that students can continue safe education safely in physical environments as well after coronavirus is over, which we hope is soon. And my next tab is on eating out, or specifically the restaurant industry. Over here, again, I've looked for the current problems and situations. So the problems restaurants faced during coronavirus, as well as what they did to solve those problems so that they could keep serving their customers with the maximum level of service they offer. The first problem is how restaurants can tackle the problem of risky exposure. So this is done by single-use items such as menus and utensils, and also staff religiously using personal protective gear and changing those pieces of protective gear between customers. The second is how restaurants make the most of their limited access to supplies and necessities, and that's by emphasizing and prioritizing hygiene. So anything they can do to keep the restaurant clean comes first, and everything else comes next. The third problem is what can be done to adjust and keep the restaurant running with limited staff. Now, COVID has led to a lot of unemployment, but that unemployment also implies that there are people looking for jobs. So they look for new recruits and train them. So looking for recruits and time management is what has kept restaurants running during this time. The fourth is what ways do restaurants have to change their layouts and change their methods of delivery and carryouts to be safer. The restaurants have gotten rid of communal tables. There's only a specific number of people allowed in the establishment within the time. And they've also introduced concepts such as contactless delivery and takeaway with minimum exposure. Then the changes that are necessary in restaurants to keep customers safe and healthy. So a lot of restaurants have started promoting outdoor dining because there's a lesser risk of COVID being transmitted in the open air. And then when it talks about interior restaurant changes, restaurants have opened up little hygiene units within the restaurants which are solely dedicated to hygiene. And they have also color-coded routes over the entire restaurant where servers carry food back and forth in order to minimize exposure to other people and as well the virus. Then when we talk about the reimagined post-corona restaurant, researchers have found 4 major changes. First is dining shifting from on-premises to off-premises, which has already happened. The second is the reevaluation of menus. The third is the reorganization of seating layouts. And the fourth is that restaurants will start to invest in technology that minimizes interaction. So downloading menus from QR codes and also contactless payment through applications. Then my last tab here is on the entertainment industry. Yes, so the entertainment industry, and specifically how things like filming and producing and sports matches and everything has changed. So since the entertainment industry is directly related to consumer participation and consumer feedback, it was quite heavily affected by coronavirus. So the first problem was how live viewership and in-person performances can be replaced. This was done by online streaming and pre-recording of everything from performances to theater plays to sports matches, anything that could replace actually having to go to the venue in order to, while also keeping up the profit. Second was the problem of casual unemployment, which is a major problem, which is a major concept in the entertainment industry. It's when employees of the entertainment industry aren't entitled to paid leave. So companies for this, they encourage their employees to work from home instead of coming to the premises, and also provided sick paid leave to affected people in some cases. Third problem was how production and filming and performances can be conducted safely. So a lot of productions were either postponed or just shut down because of the pandemic. And productions that have resumed filming have only done with limited the minimum number of staff and regular quarantine periods. Regular testing is required before they're allowed into the venue, and a lot of international locations for filming performances have been replaced by local locations. Then comes the question of changes that are necessary in entertainment venues. Entertainment venues are diverse. They range from stadiums all the way to small gig halls and music halls. So they've calculated the number of people that can be safely allowed in an establishment at a time, and they've given that as the rule. And more vulnerable rooms such as dressing rooms and locker rooms are only accessible by a very limited number of people. Then venues have also enforced social distancing measures by giving a fixed number of people to be sat in a row at a time, with empty rows separating reserved seats. And public bathrooms and dispensers of food and drinks are either removed or they're only accessible by a few people again. Then when we talk about the reimagined post-corona entertainment industry, it was one of the hardest hit because of the pandemic and the lockdown. It's also closely connected to a lot of important industries such as tourism and service. And the entertainment industry, it's a major contributor to the total economy and GDP of a country. Since this is directly related to consumer participation, had to be extremely stringent about safety protocol. Now it relies completely on virtual platforms and virtual resources. And experts have actually found that it's unlikely that the entertainment industry will go back anywhere close to what it was before the pandemic. So now, for now, they're just relying on virtual platforms and continuing their services in the best way possible until it's safe to do otherwise. That's my project. I hope it was enjoyable.
That is very nice. That's an amazing and very thorough project. I love every part of it, and I love your imagination here. Question about the way it's being presented, the links here on the left side. Was it helpful that you saw that on the one side you had problems and on the other side solutions? So basically the labeling of these texts, was it helpful for you to comprehend it better?
Yes, it was very helpful because then I could match up one text box to the other, and I could also see that this is a list of problems and this is a list of solutions. It was helpful.
That's great. Yeah, that was my thinking when I designed this, that by being able to lay it out like this visually, it actually makes your brain able to remember it better, because you kind of see exactly, you know, one against the other, the problem, and there on the other side is the solution. So that's why I wanted to make sure that other people also think the same. So, but it's an amazing project. I'm very impressed, and definitely I can see the depth of your knowledge about the pandemic. We wish that that this did not even exist, and your knowledge would have been, you know, much deeper in something else. But since we have to know it, I would probably choose somebody like you to be our
Thank you.
person who would inform us. But that was amazing. You should be very proud of your work. I'm really impressed. Really impressed.
Thank you. That means a lot.
Wonderful work.
Thank you, Ananya. Great project. You can exit. We'll start class at 8:20 after Rudha and Akriti begin. Okay,
Yes,
I'll
ma'am.
see you in class. Okay, thank you.
Hi, thank you.
Hi. Hi, Rudha. Hi, Akriti. Good morning.
Hello, ma'am. Good morning.
Okay, hi. You guys can start your project.
Yes, ma'am. I hope it's visible because I can't see the screen.
Yeah, it's visible.
Yeah, we
You're
can
on the
see it.
first.
Okay,
Mhm.
great. So our topic was, how does community engagement affect community safety? I think the entire project took us around 3 to 4 weeks to complete.
Mhm.
And it was a collaborative effort. Both me and Rudha, we did it together.
Mhm.
And I just want to say how easy this whole platform, Project Pals, was to work upon. It was, as Ananya mentioned, it was really easy to like present information through the drawing relationship features. And apart from that, also it had so many cool features, and it definitely made like presenting and compiling our information better. So that was something that was really nice about the whole project.
Thank you.
And yeah. So before we get into what our community is, or how community engagement actually affects community safety, we started off by understanding what a community primarily is. So a community is about a group of people that are bound together by a common factor. It's representative of their unity and solidarity with one another. It's not a building or a place. It's an abstract feeling. It's an emotion. It's an emotion that creates relationship between people. The reason why we need communities is to bring about social change. This is because a community requires people to look within themselves, and for the purposes of our study, change would mean a more safer community.
Mhm.
So we chose South Delhi as the focus of our study. because South Delhi is the community me and Rudha have been living in for so many years. So we were familiar with it and it was close to our hearts.
Mhm.
And we started off by talking about some of the most important participants in South Delhi that ensure the safety of South Delhi. So first up, we included the police, which everyone knows plays a really important role in ensuring the safety of any community for that matter. It's involved in investigation of crime, it's involved in crime detection, prosecution of criminals. Next, we talked about the South Delhi Municipal Corporation, which is the local body that's responsible for the overall welfare and well-being of South Delhi.
Mhm.
Third, we included the Residents Welfare Association, which is also like which is also like the South Delhi Municipal Corporation only, except that it's established. It's like a branch of the South Delhi Municipal Corporation. It's established in each colony, each block. So the function of the RWA is also very similar to that of the South Delhi Municipal Corporation. It's responsible for the overall welfare and well-being of the residents of its respective block or colony. And fourth, we've talked about the citizens, which in our opinion are the most important participants of a community. So while the work of the authorities or while the work of the government is important for ensuring community safety, for bringing about change within a community is formed by the citizens at the end of the day, and without their efforts, no amount of safety would be ensured within a community. And here we've also included a video about why it's so important to give back to our communities and how one can contribute to their community. Now Rudha would be taking you through our next step.
Thank you, Akriti. So on the second tab, we've listed down certain causes for an unsafe community and address some of the solutions which could help resolve these issues. So the causes that we've identified include illiteracy, which could be solved by introducing campaigns, increasing the number of public schools, etc. Second, poverty, which could be dealt with by, which could have two possible solutions: increasing the literacy rate as well as development of certain basic skills. The third was an ineffective legal system, which could be improved by introducing stronger laws and identifying the gaps in our legal system. And the fourth and the last cause that we've identified is alcoholism and drug addiction, which could be dealt with by setting up of accessible and efficient rehabilitation centers, as well as introducing schemes and workshops to educate people about the negative effects and consequences of consuming such substances.
I would also like to add that here we've included a video which was compiled and explained by a sociologist, and therefore the project really gave us an insight into the sociological component of crime within our community. Even through the research that we did for the causes and the solutions that Radha just mentioned, we did go on a number of sociology websites, and so the project did help. The project really helped us. Project really equipped us with like modern skills that are probably not skills that we probably would not have been able to equip ourselves with in the conventional classroom setting. And in this third tab, we talked about promotion of safety within our community. And sorry, my Wi-Fi is really slow. We started off by talking about the main drivers of change for community safety. First being people power, which is the capability or the potential that people within a community possess to bring about change to ensure community safety. And second, we mentioned the pivotal role which is played by organizations in the overall welfare of the society, overall welfare of the community and safety of the community. We also gave a few examples of the already existing organizations within our community. One such example being the Azad Foundation, which aims at sensitizing men on gender justice issues. Third, we talked about the central role which is played by the government in ensuring community safety through enacting legislations, bringing about reforms within the criminal justice system. And lastly, we talked about the media as a driver of change. So if the media is used appropriately, then it can become a really important tool for ensuring community safety, as it educates people about the various crimes that are taking place. It also spreads awareness about the ways in which crime as a whole could be prevented. And here we talked about some of the conditions for promotion of safety. So we've suggested the usage of short and frequent messages pertaining to safety, which could be broadcasted through television, radio, newspapers, and so on. And next, we've talked about the need for stricter community laws. As Rudha mentioned in the previous tab, the inefficacy of the legal system is one of the causes that's leading to crime in our community. So having stricter community laws would be especially meaningful in this regard. And third, we've talked about the aid that can be taken from technology in order to promote safety. So this would be a collaborative effort on part of the RWA and the South Delhi Municipal Corporation. And it could be in the form of surveillance cameras, better gating system, fingerprint locks, metal detectors, and so on. And lastly, we've suggested the need for workshops within our community for highlighting the crimes that are taking place and the ways in which they could be prevented. So examples could be self-defense workshops, road safety workshops. And here in the last component, we've talked about the conditions for promotion of safety. First up, we suggested the promotion of unity within the community. So as I started off the presentation by saying how a community is representative of its people's unity as well as solidarity with one another, promotion of unity within that community would be important because it would help in strengthening that community and would help in reducing crime significantly. And next, we've suggested the use of emergency services, which can be set up in blocks to ensure immediate relief as well as crime detection. And third being helplines, which would obviously be in the form of telephone services to help the victims of crime. And helplines would also help in preventing crime, as they would provide support to all those who are in distress. And we've also given examples of some already existing helplines in South Delhi, these being child helplines, women helplines, fire and rescue, police, and so on. And lastly, we've suggested the use of surveillance systems, which would help in preventing crime, and it would also help in better investigation of crime. Furthermore, it would even deter individuals from committing crime in the first place, as they would have that fear of getting caught by the surveillance systems. So, Rudha?
Yeah. Okay, so after this, we went on to discuss people power, which refers to the potential or the power of the people to initiate action and create change in their respective communities by participating actively. So this power basically enables the citizens to fight injustice, demand accountability, as well as influence lawmaking in their country. We've on this tab, we've also suggested certain strategies to utilize people power, which could include communities designing solutions to meet their specific needs and participate in the process of change, filing PILs, which are public interest litigations, to enable the court to issue directions or orders to the local bodies to ensure that action is being taken. The RWA, which is the Residents Welfare Association, could also maintain a safe community by setting up surveillance cameras, better lighting, etc. In addition to this, specific committees could be set up, which could attend to specific issues. For example, a committee could be set up to ensure women's safety, and it could also act as a support group for women. And another committee could be set up, which could be responsible for monitoring and maintaining the security provisions of the community. Here, I would like to highlight the legal aspect of our project, just like Akriti highlighted the sociology aspect of it, because we've suggested creating stricter laws, identified an ineffective legal system as a cause for an unsafe community, and recommended filing PILs in a court. So to conclude, this project was a great experience for both of us, and because we got to collaborate and we could think logically and we could conduct research in a non-traditional way, because we had to collect authentic information. And Akriti and I have worked on projects prior to this, so this was a relatively easier experience, and we had a great time collaborating. We could connect easily, and there was meeting of minds, of course. So yeah, thank you.
That is amazing, really amazing. So I have a few questions. How beneficial was presenting the information in components? Did you feel that it had any benefit for you?
Yeah, it definitely had a benefit because we could break down the research that we did, and it was easier for us to understand as well.
So it basically forces you to kind of describe everything in shorter sentences. Does it make it easier to remember?
Yeah, definitely. I think I even like both of us could like understand the information, and I think we can always remember what we've researched for this project. So
Were you able to scroll through the items in a component and then comment on each other's input there? Did you create a component? I mean, each person created one component, or did you all both contribute to the same components?
We did work on the same component because I think, no, yeah, we did work on the same component, but we did use the comment section of the component, and that was really fun. So at first we did not understand how that would work, but then we looked at the video, and then we pressed the help button, and then we did understand. And then after that, it just became really fun to like talk on that. It was like we had this secret message thingy going on over there while we were working, and that was really fun. It was also more convenient for us to communicate over there, especially because we were working on the same component. And yeah, it was just really easy to organize information here.
So you worked together on the same component and added each. Yeah, sounds great. Yeah. Listen, the project is incredible. It's unbelievably thorough. I love it, just absolutely love it. I mean, I find myself here just giving praise because every single project so far was incredible, simply incredible. And this is one of them. So very proud of you, ladies. You should be very proud of your accomplishment. So,
thank you so much.
What a great use for Project Pulse. Thank you, ladies.
Thank you so much.
That was wonderful.
All right. Thank you, guys. Great presentation.
Yeah, absolutely.
Amazing.
Ma'am, I
Yeah.
do have a, oh, okay, got it.
Yes.
Okay. I was
You're
going to
back.
ask you, how do you stop presenting screen?
Yeah, we're too used to Google Meet. Zoom
Yeah.
is like.
Oh, so they don't know how to leave the.
Yeah. Okay. So you girls can exit. I will join class in a few minutes. Join class and I'll come in.
thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Rudha. Thank you, Akriti.
Bye.
Bye. Yeah. So that was the two. There's one more team for grade 12, which you'll be seeing in the evening today.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let me just stop the
The
recording.
recording. Yeah.